Girl, you're an inspiration. I really love you from the bottom of my heart. Not our camera show, sincerely and deeply. I thank you so very much for your efforts. I thank you so very much for your leadership. Um, also for being the mother of the Defense Force on Ground Zero. You know, you extended your love, your leadership across the board. This is something that is so inspirational to me. I look up to you. I revere you. I also want to give a shout out to um, um, Queen Mom CV. I really love your work. You have proven that what men can do, women can do, and even do much more better than men. So I am a sacred observer of yours. I don't talk that much, but I do talk when it's necessary, and I do talk when I'm called upon to talk. So I want to urge you and appeal to you to continue in that same light, and that both of your blessings are abundantly coming, you know. So don't ever give up, you know. Um, Also, other women that, I'm not going to list everybody here, and please forgive me if I don't mention name. All of you guys are inspirations to me. Thank you very much, and my name is Florence Ba, and my other names are Patience Rocker. They are all my names. So let me make clear to everybody. You know, they're all my names, just that my status changed, so that's why I've always named. So, thank you very much, Mr. Lucas. Asu, back to you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, Madam Secretary of Defense. I want to ask you, how you are a mother, you have a very busy life. How and you are the Secretary of Defense for the Ambazonian Governing Council. You're responsible for the Ambazonian Defense Forces. How, as a mother, do you find the time and the focus to be able to manage and lead a successful family, raising beautiful, smart, intelligent children, and being able to lead the most powerful defense force?
Well, um, that's an interesting question. I wouldn't say it's a difficult question, but I'll say it's an interesting one. Um, because I think people should know how to multitask. It's all about multitasking and priorities. Once you set your priorities in order, you're able to accomplish or do many things at the same time, or do many things at maybe intervals. So yeah, somebody who has a family life. Normally, they don't have much time to do other things but to focus, entirely on their family. But or when you're called upon to service, your own people,
Yeah.
you know, um, you have to create that time, If it's something that you're passionate about and it is something that you believe in, you'll make time, for something that is relevant to you. So I believe that regardless of the fact that being a defense secretary might be extremely difficult work, you know, because it's something that I'm passionate about for one reason or another. I had to make time, to be able to do the things that are very important, as far as defense is concerned, and also look out for the family, you know. So yeah, when you're passionate about something, you make time for it. When something is important to you, you make time for it. So that's what I would say.
Now you
Uh,
you have one of the biggest responsibility in this revolution, and that is leading thousands of troops, and that is implementing the roadmap for of national liberation. How do you do that?
okay, one of the biggest, but I think it's a teamwork. It is a teamwork. Is nobody can achieve this type of the magnitude of this type of work individually. So we all work as a team, and so if so far we have been able to achieve what we have achieved so far, it's due to the fact that we were able to work as a team. Everybody had a part to play, you know, in order to make sure that we have a successful, revolution, war of independence, and manage the defense, successfully, despite all the, you know, hic- hiccups, and all the difficulties that we have faced so far, the perceived chaos, which is not chaos in the sense, so in sense to those who really understand the dynamics of our revolution. So I would not take credit for something that I know that I didn't do, you know. So I will give the credit to the whole team, of the AGOC ADA to be the ones that have been able to, you know, work, tirelessly, and sacrificed, you know, time, money, and much more to be able to manage the biggest defense force of our war of independence so far. So it's not credit to me. It is credit to the whole team of the AGOC ADS family.
You're responsible in implementing the roadmap. You're responsible in making sure that the forces on the ground understands that vision, they understand that mission, they understand what it takes, they understand the stakes. What kind of mindset do you do you give to the forces in terms when it comes to the mission and the vision of the liberation?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So first of all, you have to prepare the forces. First of all, you have to make sure that the forces on ground zero understand what is at stake. Once you educate the forces on ground zero about what is at stake, then you move on now to the next, which is tell them how you will be able to the mindset that you've be able to instill in them, how they will be able to use that mentality in order to implement the roadmap that was designed for us by the leader of the War of Independence.
Independence.
So you have to boost their morals where, you have to boost their morale where, they have some sort of a letdown, a mental breakdown, letdown, and so on and so forth. You know, it's a continuous process to educate them because sometimes, this war is something that really drains mentally.
It does.
At a certain point, soldiers begin to doubt themselves, especially when it gets to um, this so-called chaotic situation that we find ourselves. The soldiers begin to doubt themselves if, they're being misled or what has been told to them about liberation is actually something that is achievable. So what do? You have to motivate the forces on the ground and continue to make them to believe that you're on the right path. You know, even though liberation is something that is extremely difficult, but you don't want to paint that type of difficult picture in the in their mentality. You want to make sure that you galvanize them, give them, boost their morale, tell them the things, the things, how beautiful it is, to obtain independence. Tell them how horrible it is being to live under occupation.
That's right.
Who doesn't want to live in a country such as the United States of America? All of y'all dream about going to America. I know I'm in America right now. All of us dream about going to this wonderful mouse place, called America. So you tell the soldiers, this is the type of country that we want to build. Would you want to be under occupation where somebody comes and speaks to you in a language that you don't even understand? And, when you keep telling them, reminding them these things over and over and over, I think this is what really, really, give them that confidence that, okay, we chose the right, we chose what we different, and we want to taste that freedom. We want to have a country similar to the United States of America, So you have to make sure you keep boosting their morale and telling them that this is achievable, and not only talking to them, but you also provide them with the right equipment, or implement this extraordinary vision.
You're also responsible in making sure that the forces have an incredible relationship between with their various communities. What do you what type of education do you have in place in educating the forces in terms of their responsibility, their social responsibility to have a good relationship with the community that they function and protect?
Um, Very, very good question. I like this question very much because it's something that is really, really to heart. Because when I was appointed by uh, the president of the agency in this position, we redefined the defense secretary. You know, in our we redefined the defense secretary in the reflection of our war of independence.
Yes.
So it was like a responsibility to protect. That was the definition that we did within the confines of the Amazonian Revolution,
Yes.
of responsibility to protect. So once that definition was given to me by the president of the AGOC, what I did was that I decided now to come up with my own project, that reflects this definition, So I created a project which was called, the Amazonia mobilization program on Ground Zero. So, which the program was about, galvanizing, communities, sending, the vision of the AGOC, selling them, the vision of the ADS, and the communities that already have the ADS, this program or this project, I had to make sure that I did some sort of a talk where I came up with an audio message which has simplified some of the achievements of the AGOC so far, from the initiation of the AGOC, the ADF, until the point where we were at the revolution at that time. So I break it down in the pidgin language, and I gave it to some of the commanders that I had that were accessible to me at the time, and those communities that have been liberated, and then we were in total control. So what I did was that I make this audio and then break it down, explain to them so that they can use this audio in order for them to spread, go out there and spread this message, this information to the communities that they are, in control, and that's to make sure that the people and the school are connected. That there is no such gap between the people and the soldiers. So so that the people are not going to be afraid when they see the soldiers, and vice versa, and that the people are going to feel comfortable with the soldiers. So I did this, and I gave it to, the overall general on ground zero, which is General Big Number,
Yeah.
and a couple of commanders, and they began to do this mobilization, selling out the vision of the AGOC to make sure that the AGOC becomes a household name. And inside that program, this project, we also had this. We were coming up with some sort of a police department, not police per se, but something similar to that, way there will be some sort of a liaison, not between the community and the soldiers. So the liaison now is the middle person, because we didn't want a situation where the soldiers are going to be taking matters into their own hands. They're going to, physically approach the community like that. So we wanted some sort of a middle person that's going to be linking them. So somebody has a complaint somewhere, they can't reach, because you never know. In as much as we want to protect the soldiers, we also want to make sure that we protect the soldiers, because sometimes the enemy can use some of this population that are closer to the soldiers to get to the soldiers. So we want to make sure that, okay, somebody cannot be, that we have this middle person that is going to make sure that they take complaints, and, transmit those complaints to the soldiers and vice versa. So we were working on a lot of things, in there, you know.
Thank you very much. Only you can articulate these things the way you do. So we thank you so much for that detailed explanation. Uh-oh, are we losing you? Or we all right?
Um.
Are we losing you?
Oh.
Oh, okay. You okay? I was. Yeah. Let me ask you the next question. You came up with the idea of you came up with the idea of community education for Ambazonian children. That wherever the forces are, they have a responsibility to build community schools, for the ADF to build community schools across Ambazonia. Why was that so necessary at the time, and even now? And even more so now.
Thank you very, very much for that question. I'm not too sure. Well, that building of community school, that didn't come from me. That wasn't my idea. It wasn't my idea, but I adopted it. I adopted the idea. I adopted it because I think that it's very important that, and we project, we unveil this image of our people being educated, or that our people also want to be educated. That we didn't reject education because we don't like education. We rejected education because we deemed it occupational education. So we wanted to make sure that the international community does not misunderstand us, that, we are depriving our children from, becoming educated and becoming better people in the society, or in the system. So Reason why it was very important for me to adopt this community education was because, first of all, when you keep people, idle, they're tempted. Idleness leads to temptation. Whether it be either positive or negative temptation, you want to make sure that you keep people, occupied. Whether you want to keep them occupied mentally or physically, it all depends. Just make sure that they are occupied. So because our children have been home for a very long time, we think that, the occupier or the terrorists, I need to be using this word terrorists more often because that's really what they are, the terrorists can take advantage of our children being, out of school, being neglected, being idle, and take advantage, and do all sort of evil things or all sort of things, to these children. So we deemed it, very, very important. We make sure that we educate our children and not just educating them to the uh, with the curriculum of what which is going to be beneficial to them in the future, but we want to make sure we educate them in Amazonian history. So as they grow up, they begin to understand who they are, so that tomorrow, because we have been victims. We have been victims of the occupation of our country. We have been victims of assimilation. So we didn't want this to be replicated with the next generation, because the most of us, the education that we received was colonial education. We never thought about our history, our true history. We were thought of assimilated, brainwashing in all sort of things, and that's the reason why it became so extremely difficult for our people to really, really, really buy into this idea of liberation, because some of them were asking the question, what are we liberating ourselves from? What are we liberating? Are we not Cameroonians? And so on and so because of that lie that was fed to us most years. So we didn't want this to continue with the next generation. So that's why it's very, very extremely important, extremely necessary to make sure that our children, so we started giving them the true education, because if you don't know where you're coming from, then you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
Somebody without a root, is going to die. And nature says that self-selection is the law of nature. So you have to preserve yourself. You have to produce yourself over and over and over. So we want Amazonia to be over and over. And if you want Amazonia to be over and over, what do? You teach Amazonians that they are Amazonians, so there will be a continuation, long term. So we will never be annihilated, as these people have already planned it for us. So this is why we will educate our children, because we are sowing seeds, for the next generation, so that these people will not be misled one day by Cameroon. So coupled with the fact that they have to be better people tomorrow, they also have to be Amazonian. So that's the reason why it was very important for me to embrace the education.
For those that are watching and listening right now, we have between 25,000 and 30,000 Amazonian children currently attending community schools that have been constructed, put in place, organized by the Amazonia Defense Forces and our partner forces. We want to thank you for that initiative. We want to thank you for putting the lives of our children first, because we are doing this also. The liberation is to make sure that they have a better future. There is something also close related to that, and that is community health care systems. The Amazonia Defense Forces, whatever community they operate in, they are building community health care infrastructure across the nation. Was this something you came up with, or this is something the generals on the ground came up with?
It was something that the president came up with. The president came up with the idea. He communicated that to me that there were a couple of health centers that have been built in some of the communities that have been liberated. And we also communicated about one that we when I was injecting this project of mobilization on ground zero and educating and getting the people closer to the AGOC area. So he also asked me to come up with a budget that we wanted to because where uh, I come from Momo area to be specific, Basketball goes on. So yeah, so that's where I come from. So although I always say that I come from there, but I'm not from there because my mentality is extremely, extremely, different from how the people. Now, I'm not knocking anybody that comes from that area. I have nothing against it. There are good and bad people everywhere. So that's not the point that I'm making right now. And though I come from there, and I'm very proud to have come from there, but there are exceptions to every rule, and this is not the norm, and so on and so. So what I'm saying is that he communicated with me that those areas that we were in charge, the area was in charge in the basketball area, that we wanted to, that I should come up with a budget for some sort of a medical institution, a small medical institution that was going to benefit the people. So this was going to be part of the whole mobilization project because you don't want to go to communities and give them empty talks. You want to make sure that there are services that you're giving to this community. So when you come there, these people know that this person is not coming here just to tell us stories. The person has something, that is going to be beneficial to us. So building, 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 building hospitals, dispensaries, something that is beneficial to the community. They know that okay, we have our people that really, really have us at heart. So that's why they're creating all the services for us. So that was part of the project. The one that was in Bui that was destroyed. So yeah, the president is the one that came up with this idea, and I really, really loved it, and I really embraced it. And we do have some, that are still functioning in other areas. So kudos to you, Mr. President.
Mr. President, thank you
You
very
are
much.
you are everything to us. So, you are everything to us. You have all the wonderful, wonderful ideas. We all copy. We are not ashamed to say. Give credit where credit is due, so that you always get your blessings. You don't steal knowledge. You don't steal knowledge from people and don't give them credit. You don't plagiarize without, giving credit where you plagiarize from. So, kudos to you, Mr. President.
All right. Well,
That's what it is to be AGOC, ADF. ADF, AGOC. That AGOC is a lifestyle. ADF is a brand. Take it from me.
wow. After almost 4 years of the Amazonian people on this journey of liberation, I mean, it's taken a much more longer time than that. Over the last 4 years, we have seen a different take in terms of the trajectory of the revolution. Now we are at the point where the leader of our war of independence has educated and informed the Amazonian people that we are the takeover phase. What are you doing? You don't have to tell us everything. To prepare the minds of the Amazonian people, the minds of the forces, to be ready for a takeover.
Okay.
I like to ask simple questions.
Well, well, it's simple, but they also are also tricky. They also need a little education. So this is I think this is the reason why we're here today to take over project, the TTOF. Couple of things here. I will first of all make sure that give a comprehensive view of to our people if it's all about. I know so many talks, a lot of people breaking it down and so on and so forth. So, but it's good that it's a repeat because the mind of a person it needs repetition for something to stick.
Yes.
So that's what the human mind or the human brain is. So I will also, as an ambassador, because when you become part of the ego of CAD, you are an ambassador of the institution, of the organization. You might not know that you're an ambassador, but whatever, as a member of the ego of CAD, wherever you step you are ambassador there. You have to serve that image. You are married to the ego. I'm married to the ego of CADA. So I am an agenda. I have to go out there and sell that agenda to the people. So I become a marketing, personality of the ego of CADA. So takeover project. What is it all about? Why did buzz? Well, I'll give it in two folds. You have the National Takeover Project and the Diaspora Takeover Project. This is the way I break it in. I'll start with the Diaspora Project Takeover. The Diaspora Takeover is that you don't have to do anything. The ground zero and the diaspora, we are linked. So those of you out there who are saying that, ground zero has to be independent from the diaspora and yada yada. I don't know if you guys really understand what you're saying when you start saying all these things. The both of us are linked. We are interconnected. No one can be independent from the other because ground zero they need materials in order to carry out surgical operations, on ground zero, in terms of taking out, the occupational forces. So how do people who don't have jobs, people who have not worked for more than how many years, almost 4 years today, how do they go about, raising funds to procure all the necessary materials that they need in order to go about, freeing the land for us, therefore, to come and, establish whatever we want to establish. So, we need each other. We really do need each other. We really need to work as a team. So, therefore, what's your role to play in the TT? It's very simple. Remember that when we launched the defense, when we started taking out terrorists in 2017, some of y'all were committed financially. Y'all began to drop in, coins. You drop your coins so that we can go ahead and acquire the materials that we need in order to pursue, the self-defense. That a lot of, not all, most of us, but few of us, really, really believed in. So when you begin, that was some sort of an engagement, that was a promise that you made that, okay, I am going to finance this thing because I believe in it, but it's of self-defense to get us to where we want to go.
Okay.
So you began to drop your coins, you put your money, when you did that, it was like an investment that you were making. You took that oath that I want to invest. It's like creating a business. You come up with a capital. What do? You might have maybe $1,000 to start a small business, and you have family, maybe one or two children. You say, okay, I'm opening this business. You start a business, you buy small things, and then 1, 2, 3, almost 4 years now, that business has generated what? Base, profit. And now, what has happened? Children have grown. Maybe the two children that you started this business with, they've grown. So now you have other extended family members. So when this business has generated this profit, while these children were growing along, you would take maybe some small profit that you made along the way, maybe find certain, things in the children's life as they grow along. And then you get to 3 or 4 years, now you've made so much profit. What happens? You see that this business has made you this profit. Children have grown to a point where they need more money, to their investment, whatever it is that you want to invest in their children. What do you do? Would you continue to be depending on that $1,000 business, to that profit, to add it up so that you can expand the business, so that the bigger, the project or of the children warrants you, you'll be able to have much more money in order to invest more in those children. And what about great grandchildren? You want to make sure that this is not just something that's short term, it's long term. What am I saying? What I'm saying, we've gotten to the point where that investment, that money that you took out in 2017 to help us to acquire weapons, has gotten to a point where we've expanded the business. It has grown. We've made some profit. Now we want to take that profit now and add it up. So that profit now is you now adding up that money, adding up the money from maybe a couple of coins that you dropped in during the initial stages in 2017. We've gotten there to the point where the business is growing, it's big, it's about to materialize. So you want to take profit and add it up so you can expand the business. Now this is what we call TT. So you're going now, take more money. If you put in 2 pennies in 2017, what you're gonna do now is you will make sure that 1, 2, 3, almost 4 years, you're adding 4, and then it makes 6. So that was the profit in your that you generated within this 4 years, and you add it up now to expand. So I'm saying this to say that this is the last phase. It is not the final phase, but it's the last phase. Last phase in terms of the taking over. You're taking over military, ground zero. Then the last final is when we erect what? A transitional government on the national territory. That's the final phase.
Okay.
Last phase, we're taking over the military, and so you what you gotta do is, diaspora, put your money where your mouth. We need that money right now. You've worked so hard, you've made so much profit. Now you just want to take those profits and add it up so you can make the business big. It is right there in our hand. We need to grab it. Ground zero takeover. Ground zero takeover is a reflection of what happened in 2017. We, La République, or the third nation, has already crumbled. Now, there's so much inconsistency coming out there in terms of what is actually happening. But that's not what is very important. What is important is everybody should be on alert. They're almost dead, the chief terrorist is no more. And they have to make a pronouncement that this person has passed. So the moment that you hear that, this chief terrorist has finally given up, kick the bucket, or, give up ghost, which we are appealing and urging our population, everybody come out. Come out from wherever you are. Even those who are in the bushes, come out and take control of your territory, your territorial space. This is a one-time opportunity that is lurking, in the dark. You don't want to miss out. You don't want to plant a seed, and then when it gets to harvest, you don't, stretch your hand or extend your hand to harvest it. You don't want to miss this opportunity. So this is a one-time opportunity that's presenting itself. So we are telling the people, be on alert. We have the defense, the forces on the ground, whom we didn't have in 2017 when y'all came out, in your numbers, and you were what? Guns, helicopter guns, and so on and so forth. This time, it's different. This time is different in the sense that we have our defense on ground zero, and they are going to be behind you guys, for a retaliation, just in case, you guys are picked upon by bullets from the occupying forces. So we are urging our people to be on alert. As soon as this happens, you hear within 24 hours, everybody comes out. You all go to all the occupational buildings and take control of them. Those who are so-called those who are occupational forces administrators, shake them all out, run them out of your communities. Those who don't want to leave, what do? You arrest them, apprehend them. You are in charge. You are in charge of your country. You have made a lot of sacrifices, enormous sacrifices to get to this point. And you don't want to give up right now. You want to be prepared that, when this thing is ready, that you just grab it. There's not a very excessive time like this one where freedom is at hand. To me personally, I know I'm already free. I'm already free. I know that we are free. But some of y'all, you're not convinced, because it's something that you're not living it, or you don't really understand the dynamics of this thing. That's why you don't really know or understand that you're already free.
And
don't be afraid.
And that's why we are here. That's why we are here to prepare them.
We are here to prepare you guys. We'll prepare you guys mentally. I know some of you are already free mentally. We'll prepare you guys mentally, both mentally and physically. Physically, you're all coming out. Those in the bushes, you're all coming out. Take control of your neighborhood. Take control. And then the ground zero forces, some of them are going to be deployed in strategic locations. This is what I'm telling y'all diaspora that. Those guys who are going to be deployed in strategic locations, they need also special equipment to be in those locations. So this is where your money is very important. We want to make sure that we procure all this important military gear to give them to be located in this strategic location, or so that they will be able to carry out, special operation, to prevent the occupier from taking over these strategic positions and so on and so forth. So this is where your money is important.
All right. We have a website. Go to www.ttof.net and go make that commitment. You've heard from the most powerful Amazonian woman. You've heard from the voice that holds our revolution, a woman that holds our revolution in her hand. You've heard the plans. This is the time for the takeover. You've heard from Madam Secretary of Defense today that this is the time for the Amazonian people to take over Amazonia. The forces need your support to get the job done and give the people a free homeland now. Go to www.ttof.net and go make that commitment. Also, for those of you that live in the United States of America, a lot of you like Cash App because the American people do things very fast. Use Cash App $Amazonia Mission and just Cash App your donation, Cash App your commitment. We will receive it. Send me a screenshot of your donation and your contribution and your commitment. Send me a screenshot of it. It's a number right on top of the screen there. Send a screenshot on that number. We will give you a shout out. We will praise you. We will acknowledge you. We will thank you on behalf of our people, on behalf of our forces, on behalf of the Amazonian nation. So we have a few more minutes left. I want to ask you this. How will Amazonia look like? Because you've talked about the fact that this is the last phase. The takeover phase is the last phase. We're moving. Once there is a takeover, there will be an immediate Amazonian transitional authority, what they call a transitional government in Amazonia. Is that clear? Is that what is going on? Or, I just want to ask you this because sometimes Amazonians are very skeptical. Will these ADF people do all of these things and then they make Ayaba president? Or plans are being made where leaders are now talking, all the leaders are talking to put the Amazonian Transitional Authority framework together so that they themselves, within that 24-hour period frame, they're getting down on the territory, and then those leaders will decide who will be the Ambazonian transitional prime minister. Is that correct? Or this is something that the ADF is doing, and then at the end of this, the ADF said, no, we liberated the homeland. We were the biggest defense force on the ground. We were the biggest on the ground, even though, will this something that the ADF will, want to play around with the Ambazonian people and then to make Ayaba president? I want to ask this question because I'm talking on behalf of the Ambazonian people. I have to protect the people's interest.
Yeah, I'll understand the question. It's a tricky question. This is a tricky question, but
I know you are not a
I'll say
politician.
this,
You are
that
into defense, but I just have to ask you from
in
a
as
defense
much,
standpoint.
in yeah, I understand. In as much as Amazonian Defense Forces is the biggest force on ground zero, and we're not saying this just for propaganda's sake. It has been proven. It's a fact. We are not going. We equally acknowledge, their participation, their work, their sacrifices. We acknowledge what they're doing. Shout out to RK, the British,
Southern Cameroon resistance forces.
Saudi Cameroon British Resistance Forces. Yeah, shout out to you, Swat of Amazonia. Shout out to you.
Seven
Shout out to
Qatar.
you,
Yeah,
the
Seven Qatar.
Amba Gorillas, and all the different forces. Y'all not left around. So it's everybody. So there's consultation going on of all the movements, leaders of all the movements. There's consultation going in the background because transitional. Amazonia Defense Forces, AGOC, is just a representation, AGOC is just a representation of the movement of, the independence of Amazonia.
Okay.
So AGOC is not the government of Amazonia. AGOC cannot impose, on Amazonia. AGOC can only work, with the other genuine leaders, for to come up with a comprehensive structure for the transition, for any transitional authority to be created on ground zero. So no, this is not a project or program for the AGOC. No, this is a program or project for Amazon. So we are using, we AGOC ADF members are using this organization, to be able to implement the aspiration, of the Amazonian people. AGOC ADF is not Amazonian, it is just a tool that's been used. So don't get it twisted, people.
Thank you very much for that clarity. Thank you very much.
Like I said, I am an agenda of AGOC ADF, so I'll always sell their market. Always sell.
All right, Madam.
Do business in that regard.
All right, Madam Secretary of Defense.
So, if you will permit me, if you will permit me, one small place I'm appealing. If you will permit me, I want to speak on a little bit on the who are working for PIG. If you would permit me, I know we don't have that much time.
Go ahead, Madam Secretary.
Those of you who are still part of PIG, I hope by now you guys have already understood that who y'all working for. You're working for an unclean animal. Pig is an unclean animal. Okay? If you are if you guys really have the best interest and you are really out for independence, I think by now you should have disassociated yourself from this pig. Pig is La Republique. Pig is La Republique. Everything that La Republique does is a reflex. Everything that Pig does is a reflection of La Republique. And so this is end times. End times doesn't mean that the world is ending. No, there's one system that is being destroyed to usher in a new system. So when end times arrive, even your Bible tells you all that. I'm not a fan of the Bible. Have nothing against it. It's a good book. I pick some morals from there and draw inspiration from it, but I'm not a fan of it. But it does have some good things in it. So your Bible tells you, when end times come, what do? You come forth. You come forth, confess, and say all the things, the negative stuff that you have daughter, and that's how you can transition, with a clean mind, clean heart, clean spirit, and be received by the Creator. But you guys are still hanging on to peace. Y'all not saying all the handwriting in the wall. You don't want to be a victim. You don't want to go back to the old ways. Amazonia has been delivered. Free yourself from me if you have collected blood money and so on and so forth. Then you have a right to continue to be engaged in peace. But if you are ignorant, I'm telling you guys that who are still ignorant, peace is misleading you guys. It's an unbelievable peace from it, and so that you can also participate in the, jubilation, the jamboree, the carnival, that's about to happen. So that's what I want to say to, people who are disobeyed. Everything has been exposed. We live in that quantum age now, where all the lies have to be exposed. The pigs are coming out. The leaders of the pigs are coming out, exposing themselves. Y'all still can decode what they're saying. Okay, I don't understand. So basically, I'm appealing to y'all and come and enjoy the festivities that's going to be happening once we, already taken over. Mr. We all know that. So on that note, I said thank you very much and then I hand it back to you, Mr. Ashton.
Thank you very much. Would you like to say a last word for our people on Ground Zero in terms of readiness for the takeover?
Of course, always. So beautiful people of Amazonia, I'm telling y'all did the hard work. Get ready. Takeover is at 9. Takeover. This is the dawn of takeover. Get ready, my people. Get ready. You have won it. You have defeated the enemy. You have defeated the terrorists. They thought they were invincible. We poked holes in their invincibility. We poked holes. We defeated them, without any international support. We are a mighty people. Be proud of yourself. You own your streets. You own everything. Don't be afraid. Be ready. Come out on your numbers more than y'all came out in 2017. Come out right now. Come out when there's a pronouncement that this man has passed. I know he has passed. Even if he's not passed, he's going to be walking no more. That's a skeleton. Even if it's not passed right now. He's a skeleton. You can't, a skeleton cannot, you can't be afraid of a skeleton, So get ready, people. You are free, finally, free at last. Amazonia, this one is for you. Love you.
Thank you very much. We're very delighted to have you today. You're a woman of power, a noble example, a possibility for an admiration for other women. You are really a role model of what Ambazonian is going to be, a land of equal opportunity. Women will actually have a better place in terms of leading Ambazonia than men. You've proven that, the most powerful woman in Ambazonia. So today, we're very delighted to hear from you. Very happy that you've talked directly to the Ambazonian people, preparing them for the takeover. I know you had something to say.
Hey, one more thing, Mr. Lucas. This is just a special shout out to the woman of God. I am very, very, very sorry that I didn't know that she just had a baby.
And she just had a baby, Emmanuel.
And I'm sending you a message now. I'm sending you my love, and I'm sending you light to you and your young baby. I'm so happy, and I really thank you. You are my inspiration, intellectual inspiration. The woman of God, I'm sending this to you. So please forgive me. I just heard about you giving birth just on Mr. Lucas' show the other day when he had you on his platform. That's when I learned. So please, I'm appealing to you that forgive me, and I'm sending you all my love and all the blessings for your young baby in light.
And on that note, we've come to the end of this conversation with the most powerful woman in Ambazonia, the Defense Secretary for the Governing Council of Ambazonia. Madam Secretary, thank you so much for talking to our people today and visiting our platform today. We'll have some other time to bring you on very soon again We love to hear from you. Very powerful. You're a role model for all of us, especially our young girls and our mothers. We thank you for your sacrifices. We thank you for your dedication and commitment to the freedom of our people. Have yourself a blessed day, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And thank everybody for tuning and listening once more. And
my people, go to www.ttof.net. Make your commitment. There is a Cash App, Ambazonia, $, Ambazonia. You all have a great day, everyone. God bless you all.